Getting right into today's video, we're going to be doing my lovely client Amber's nails. We're going to be transforming her very vibrant colored nails into a beautiful fall set, nice and neutral with a light pop of color. So we're starting off with my process of doing a backfill. I have specialized since I started doing nails in colored acrylic. So if you guys are also a fellow colored acrylic nail tech, let me know down below. Otherwise, let me know what you guys prefer to use and what your specialty is if you are a nail tech. Now I'm going to go in with my e-file. I do have it at a speed of about 13,000 RPMs, and along with that I'm using a medium grit carbide bit. This one is safety bit. I will leave it linked down below. I believe it's from Profiles Backstage, and this one does the trick. It works so good to get that acrylic off fast and effectively. Now, all in one motion, I'm also going to be removing any lifted areas she may have. So as I am filing it all the way down until I have a nice thin layer, I also focus on removing that lifted portion up towards the cuticle if she has any lifting, which I believe she typically does on her middle finger. Must be one of the fingers she uses the most. I feel like if you've ever had clients that no matter what you do on their nails prep wise, they still get lifting, a lot of the time it might not even be your fault. Sometimes it could just be what they do on a day-to-day basis, and I've noticed that with myself specifically as well. So I did my nails not that long ago and they started lifting almost immediately, but I noticed it was because I was doing a lot of cleaning and prepping, and we did all kinds of prep for my daughter's birthday, and then I did a new fill on them and they've been perfectly fine. But I've also been a little bit more hands off when it has come to like any physical work using my nails, so that makes a huge difference as well. I wasn't super careful while I was doing all the prep work for her birthday, and now that that is over with, I have not been using my nails as tools, which makes a huge difference on the retention as well. So I'm here to tell you, if you struggle with retention, sometimes it won't be your fault. A lot of the time it can be the client's fault as well. So it's always very important, if you have a client saying, you know, their nails are lifting, ask them what they do for a living, ask them what they use their nails for. That can give you a huge insight on what you might need to change in order for the retention to last a little bit longer. So I'm going to go ahead and continue filing off this acrylic, and again focusing on the areas that may have lifting as soon as I get to that nice thin layer, and we're just going to go ahead and repeat that on the rest of the nails. My goal is to just leave a very small amount on there so that I don't over damage her natural nail. Next, she did request a slight trim, so that is exactly what we're doing. I kind of cut off just a little bit of the tip, and now we are reshaping. So this is essentially how I get my almond shape shortened. I go ahead and take the length or a little bit less than what they ask for. That way when I go ahead and file it into the shape, I don't over file it and make them too short. So I'll go ahead and trim them slightly, reshape, and then check with the client to see if the length is good. If they request them to be a little bit shorter, then you go ahead and trim them one more time. If they like the length, then you just leave it as it is. Now, per usual, for my filing process when it comes to shaping the nails or anything using a hand file, I am using my Tammy Taylor peel and stick file. They are my favorite. I have everything linked down in the description box as well if you guys are interested in any of the products that I use throughout the video, along with any discount codes I may have for the products, so y'all can save a little bit of money and also support my channel by purchasing through those links if you feel it in your heart to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and just continue to round these out. For my almond shape, I do a little bit of filing on one side and then a little bit on the other side just to make sure the sides are nice and even. And then I just ultimately round that tip into a nice slight point, but still very much so round. And if you guys are still struggling with your shaping process, definitely check out my shaping video. It is a little older, so that video does need to be redone into a new and updated version. However, it's still very, very helpful. And I always break down my beginner basic videos as best as I can so that you guys can follow it and you guys can achieve whatever you guys are struggling to do. So I'm going to go ahead and finish filing the rest of these nails, and then we're going to get into our prep for our natural nail portion. Now that I'm all the way done doing my hand filing process, I'm going to go ahead and start prepping the natural nail for the application. And this is pretty much going to consist of using a mandrel bit and a sanding band. I use this extra long skinny one from Profiles Backstage along with their sanding bands in medium grit. Absolutely love them. They have green ones as well if you guys prefer green, but I typically stick to my purple colored ones. I'm going to go ahead and slightly push back the cuticle while I'm doing this process as well. My goal during this step is to finish removing any lifted areas she might have, push back that cuticle to expose a little bit more of the natural nail portion, and ultimately buff off the shine from the natural nail, lightly etching the surface so that all the products adhere properly. And so if you guys are not doing this thoroughly, acrylic or any product that you are placing on a natural nail can lift very, very quickly or peel off if you are using gel products. So it really just depends on what products you're using, but you always want to make sure that you are fully prepping the natural nail, and that way you can have the best adhesion possible. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that on the rest of the nails. Now, once I'm done with that, I did go ahead and clean the surface of the nail with the lint-free wipe and a little bit of Young Nail Swipe. That is going to dehydrate the nail plate, and you want to make sure you are getting rid of all the excess dust, so that kind of does a 2-in-1 motion. You can always go in with a dehydrator as well if you're still having issues with lifting, but I typically am okay just using the lint-free wipe and Young Nail Swipe. Next, you're going to go in with your primer. I started kind of just doing my primer on one hand, and then when I'm ready to do the application on the other one, I go ahead and add the primer on that hand. Sometimes the oils of the natural nail can come back to the surface while we are doing one hand, so you want to make sure that you are like prepping it while you go, and that way that can minimize lifting as well. I went ahead and went in with a light coat of Kiara Sky's acrylic primer. Now for my acrylic application, do note that I'm using the Chaun Legend acrylic brush in a size 10. And then along with that, I'm using my Kiara Sky Monomer. That has been my go-to and my favorite since it is HEMA free. Now for my acrylic color, we are using Nude Panther from Polish. It is one of my favorites. For my acrylic application, we're going to be doing basic acrylic application for this. I am kind of pretty much doing a 2 bead method on most of the nails. Because they are shorter, I can get away with one, but I still try to add a little bit of structure to that nail. So I'm pretty much going in with my first bead being a medium-sized bead of acrylic. I immediately place it up towards the cuticle area, leaving space for a small bead of acrylic. And ultimately, I want to make sure that it is going on to all of the sides of the nails and down towards the tip. I'm just tapping it into place. And then once I get that thickness, I try to blend upwards so that I don't have to cut any of the acrylic off. However, sometimes I still go ahead and do that just to not mess with the structure of the nail, as I am doing here with my brush. And then for my second bead of acrylic, I am going to be taking that small bead and placing it near the cuticle area. And I always recommend when you're doing your acrylic application, wipe those sides. Make sure you are tucking it in as best as possible to retain the perfect shape that you filed the nail into, and you're not widening it or making it look messy with your application. Now for that small bead, I immediately place it up near the cuticle area, hold the finger downwards, and I slightly tuck upwards towards that cuticle area and then just quickly blend it down. And then as needed, we will go in and clean up those sides if you prefer to do that. And if I need to add a little bit more in any area, I would go ahead and do that at this point. I do have very in-depth acrylic application videos, so if you guys are interested in that, I always recommend do your liquid to powder ratio practice first before you go into application. That way you know exactly how to manage the acrylic before you start slathering it on a nail. Now, if you guys are on TikTok, I would highly recommend you guys go ahead and follow our Veeda Bella page. That is our business page, and we do lives quite often. I'm actually in the process of showing my husband how to do nails. It's really just started off as kind of like a joke, and he's progressively gotten really good. So if you guys want to see his progress on live when we go live, definitely check us out and give us a follow. We would very much so appreciate it, and definitely stay tuned because on day 30 of him practicing, he will be doing my nails, so that should be interesting. If you guys have been here for a while, he did try to do my nails one time before with zero knowledge, so this time it'll be interesting to see his progress from nothing to having 30 days fully of practice with acrylic. So definitely stay tuned for that. Now for the ring finger, we are adding a pop of color. This beautiful teal color was actually mixed by myself years and years ago. I have this drawer, and if you guys have seen any of my like desk tours or organization videos, you guys know what drawer I'm talking about, but it has a bunch of tiny little containers of colors that I have custom mixed for my clients. So I really wouldn't be able to tell you guys what color this is, as I did custom mix it at one point for somebody else. And here we are using it again, which is nice because a lot of the time I don't touch those acrylics ever again. So this was kind of fun. I'm going to go ahead and add that in a nice thin layer, just making sure that it is nice and opaque. And then immediately after, I'm going to be encapsulating that with clear just to add some more structure to the nail and make sure that the strength is back into it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that just using clear acrylic from Not Polish. Now once everything is nice and dry, we're going to go in and lightly file using a 5-in-1 bit. This one is from Not Polish, and I have my e-file speed at about 10,000 RPMs. I'm going to focus on that cuticle area and then just slightly file the rest of the nail. Very, very simple process. As I do try to lay my acrylic nice and smooth, this process is very much so minimal. Now I'm going back in with my hand file. We're going to be refining the shape that we originally created. I just want to make sure everything is nice and crisp. And then we're going to go ahead and start our nail art. Now I did go ahead and buff the surface of her nails just using a buffer, random one that I found in my drawer. And then for our nail art application, I'm going to be doing the aura type of design using a white color. And this is a super simple process using the dab gel from Profiles Backstage and a little round sponge. Once I get that nice aura design, I'm going to go ahead and flash cure with my Not Polish flashlight. And then we're going to be going in with our second layer for the design, which just entails using my long liner from Veeda and a light blue mixed color, and we're going to be outlining that whole nail. Now for the middle finger, we're going to be doing a Frenchy nail with a little bit of negative space in it. And so I'm just carving out my smile line, and then we're going to be doing the tiny little details. I'm still using my liner brush from Veeda Bella, and then we're going to be infilling it. This is like a slight cream colored nail art liner, and I believe it's from Not Polish. Now for the pinky nail, we're going to be doing a Frenchie for the tortoise shell design. I'm going to be using the color Tortoise from Profile's Backstage Jelly Polishes. I will leave that linked. It is my favorite for the base for a tortoise nail. It's perfect color choice. And I'm going to be using my Oopsie brush from Veeda Bella, and we're going to be carving that out into a nice little smile line. And then we're going to be adding those tiny little details using a darker brown jelly polish and a little bit of black as well. So I'm just making sure that my smile line is nice and crisp. And then we're going to be going in, and as this is still wet, I'm going to kind of pat into that wet gel, those different colors, to add that dimension. Now we're going to be doing that on the index finger as well. I did kind of a crappy job staying in frame for this, so it's a little bit hard to see this now. So I'm going to also show it on the other hand so you guys can get the full gist of it. But I'm covering the whole nail with that tortoise color. And then again, going in with a brown and black jelly polish as well to add those little splotches. Now always remember to cure in the light whenever you feel it is necessary. I'm now going in with some gold little details, and I just mixed 2 glittery gel art liners from Not Polish. And I'm using my long liner, and we're going to be using that instead of adding little caviar beads because sometimes those can be hard to keep on there. So I'm just going in with tiny little dots and adding that in for some details, and then we're going to be curing that in the light for a full 60 seconds before we go in with our top coat. Now, top coat of choice, since she is a hairstylist, we're going to be going in with stain resistant top coat from Young Nails. I'm going to be adding a thin layer of that, curing it in the light. Do note this has a tacky layer, so I will be wiping that off using a lint free wipe and a little bit of Young Nails swipe. Going in with my cuticle oil of choice. This one is in the scent Sweet V from Profiles Backstage. It's actually my collab with them. So if you guys want a good smelling cuticle oil, definitely check it out. It's a dry oil, so it doesn't leave the fingers or the nails super greasy looking. I'm gonna rub that in nicely. But that pretty much concludes today's video. Let me know what you guys think down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a ton. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.